Labor Department dealing with a lot of situations right now, reporting Americans are enduring one of the fastest rates of price increases in nearly 40 years. And this poses a massive political problem for President Biden as he looks to revive his Build Back Better plan. And Republican Senator Mitch McConnell says Democrats are to blame.
The severity of this inflation was directly fueled by the reckless far-left spending spree that every single Democrat in this chamber voted to ram through at President Biden's behest.
And joining us now to discuss this is BNC contributor and political strategist Ameshia Cross and political strategist Barret Holmes Smith. Thank you for joining us this hour. Ameshia, I'll begin with you. Let's talk about how we got here in the first place. As you know, unemployment rates are down, but Americans are still struggling to pay the bills due to inflation. The Consumer Price Index indicating Americans are not happy. In fact, they're miserable with what's going on. Are Democrats to blame, like Senator Mitch McConnell just said?
Absolutely not. What we can blame for a lot of this, quite frankly, is something that was out of our control, the pandemic. When we look at our infrastructure issues as it relates to our economic infrastructure, America has basically been flying the flag of success for a very long time, and that success was only for those who were earning in the upper tier class, that top 10%, that top 5%, while the rest of Americans were suffering. Quite frankly, the middle class has been shrinking for decades, and the impoverished group has actually been growing. What we've seen as a result of the pandemic is massive job loss, particularly for those who were working in those industries that paid basic minimum wage or lower than minimum wage. And at this point, those jobs are the ones that are making up for the economic situation we currently see, with more and more jobs being added. But those jobs being added are largely jobs that are in the restaurant industry or the retail industry, industries that are known for their low wages, industries that do not provide benefits. And no, Americans aren't rushing to go back to those types of jobs. But with that being said, Republicans like to blame the Biden administration for things like the extended child tax credits, things like ensuring that there were unemployment benefits or an advantage to unemployment benefits for those individuals throughout the pandemic who, quite frankly, could not find more jobs. So I think that we have to be very serious when we structure this conversation, because a lot of those people who receive the extended child tax credits, as well as those who receive those unemployment benefits and that the extension of those as well, they weren't just in Democratic states. They were Republicans as well. And not a single one of them turned away that money when they needed it during this pandemic. I think that what we have to be certain when we have this conversation of is, yes, inflation is real and people are feeling it. I went to the grocery store just yesterday, and yes, the prices of everything have gone up, from fruits and vegetables to meats, everything. It's sky high. But that is the result of what we're seeing as we climb out of this pandemic. And it's not just in America, it's seen across the globe. And any president, be it whether it was Biden or Republican, at this point would have seen the exact same thing. We're hoping for the Treasury to be able to work its magic, so to speak, but this we will climb out of. It's not going to be as fast as many Americans want to see, and I get that. But at the end of the day, this is just one of those very sad offshoots of a pandemic that we could not have stopped from arriving in this country, and one that we are still working very tirelessly to fight.
So, Barry, let me bring you in. How is inflation going to put a dent in President Biden's plan to revive his agenda, which, of course, is Build Back Better? And will his spending package need to be dramatically reduced?
I don't think his spending pattern needs to be dramatically reduced. We're having a very strange conversation about like what's causing inflation, and just essentially what's going to happen here is politically Americans do not enjoy inflation, and this is going to be detrimental politically, and it's going to make Republicans not want to collaborate with Biden. But we all know that they weren't going to collaborate anyway. So what this is going to do is give them talking points that they can say to make it seem as though all of this is Joe Biden's fault. And then those talking points may make Manchin or Sinema less inclined to collaborate with Biden, but they've already been, not inclined to collaborate with Biden anyway. So he already has like clear political obstacles that inflation has nothing to do with. The Republicans will just use this as a narrative to try to make it even less likely for him to get what he would like to get done. But I think we really need to focus on is about what's causing the inflation. That's the larger conversation. A lot of this is due to COVID and the supply chain impact across the globe that is making it harder for people in a globalized economy to get the goods and services that they're accustomed to getting. And due to that lack of supply, the price is going to go up because the demand remains. The thing that we don't talk about is that Biden's policies and the Democratic policies that would help low wage workers have a greater livable wage and benefits, the Build Back Better that's going to work on infrastructure, that would actually stabilize the industries that are responsible for getting Americans those goods and services. So even though it would result in them getting paid more, it could lower inflation because we will get the goods and services, and the supply will grow, and inflation won't happen to the same extent. And so we're having these weird conversations where we don't actually focus on the economics of what's causing it and how we can fix it with good economics. Instead, we have conversations about the political ramifications and the misinformation that people say that has really no sound economic basis.